6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes for this match review. But it's also turned into a hell of a lot more than a match review now, hasn't it? I was expecting Ian to be with me, but I don't know what's happened. I hope he's all right. He's probably forgot that it's 8 o'clock and not 8:15. Oh, he says he'll be 2 minutes late. Fair enough. We'll let him off. He's always late anyway. We'll do the usual stuff while we're waiting. There's the link to become a member. Again, members win prizes, members keep the channel running. This is how it works. It keeps it running for free, basically. Even though what a day, didn't see the APT statements dropping. I mean, we've been asking for these statements to drop for a while, and boy, unbelievable. Please like, share, and subscribe to help the channel grow. It's all free. You can join just for 99p and be entered into members only prize draw, or donate using super chat in the bottom right hand corner. It's only if you want to. Please adhere to standard community guidelines, keep comments respectful, and enjoy the show. I love being on here more than anything because everyone in the chat is respectful, unlike that cesspit X. Evening everyone, evening Lee, evening Gary, evening pal. Good, hope you are too. Lee, Gary, Leslie. Baz, have a read of Nick DeMarco's tweet. I'll try my best, mate. There's been quite a lot of them. I've got a lot of stuff to go through tonight. Hey, Lee, nice to see you. And then we'll go. Let's see if we can get that tweet up then from Nick DeMarco. I know I follow him, so. DeMarco? I can't find him. I know there's loads been going on. And by the way, Lindsay's going to be getting an update on her case soon against Newcastle United for her, for me, unlawful banning from St James's Park. So hopefully, that will be sorted out ASAP, and she'll be allowed to be back into St James's Park where she belongs. My head's spinning with all the info around. Yeah, there's a lot to divulge into, isn't there? There's a hell of a lot. But first of all, guys, it's the anniversary. 3 years ago, this was when Newcastle United were officially taken over on the 7th of October, 2 days after my birthday. I thought it was going to happen on my birthday. It would have been the best birthday prize ever. But unfortunately, it was 2 days later. But it's still absolutely amazing. That's like a record, baby. You spin me right round, bend right round. Me, not interested. Right. Any questions from you guys while we're waiting for Ian? He's obviously taking his time. Sponsors, don't forget about our amazing sponsors. Code BAZ20 for 20% off. And also football prizes. This one finished, but they do have an amazing prize that's just came out. I haven't had a chance to sort it all out, but it's a Gaza signed shirt, a Gascoigne signed shirt. It's amazing. You've got to do it. And 20% of all the tickets sold will be going to charity, which is absolutely amazing. And speaking of charity, our charity night on the 16th of January is 100% happening. We've sold 50% of the tickets. Luke Edwards is in. This is going to be amazing. Getting a chance to speak to an actual journalist in the Northeast about January transfer window, in the window, and also about the developments at St James's Park and whether we're going to get a new stadium or not. There's lots of unanswered questions, and we can't wait to get Luke's thoughts on that in a live event. So that is going to be fun. That's it, Baz. Pete Burns. Evening, Baz and all. Paul. Crikey, forgot the yeah, anniversary with everything else. Evening, Paul. There's so much going on. Yeah, you made it.
Hi, mate. Sorry.
Was that because you were walking like John Wayne?
Well, apart from that, no. I've just had an interesting phone call, which I'll take up tomorrow, regarding what's gone on with Everton
Oh,
today.
the City stuff. Oh, we're
Yeah.
talking about that tonight. That is happening. Where the match is
I mean,
only going to be talked about tonight.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of information tonight, which is a shame because he's rang us at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I found some crazy information, which I'll find out probably tomorrow more in detail, which obviously I'll pass on to you more, Baz. You'll probably speak to him as well. Some of the stuff is staggering, by the way. What you'll find out, and it's just got nothing to do with sponsorship, which is a strange one. There you go.
Ooh, very interesting. Right. Yeah. Well, first of all, it's anniversary. What do you remember from the takeover? 3 years ago today.
Yeah, I was actually obviously at work, and I remember my good friend John, who's a plumber. He actually said it's went through. And I went, "What's went through?" And actually, when he said that it's been complete, I still was quite took back. That was probably roughly, I think at the time it was probably about 4 o'clock. So by the time I got in, I still wasn't.
Yeah, about 4:30 because I was having tea.
Yeah, and I think it was roughly just after 5 o'clock where it was. Always remember it was. I just always remember. I jumped in and out the shower and it was breaking news, and I've just never felt how great that moment was. It was fantastic, and look how far we've come. Look how far we've come. I mean,
exactly 3 years. That's it. It's only been 3 years since the takeover. We had a team that was bottom of the league, winless.
Yeah.
You know, we've had, what was it, 4 points? Was it 4 or 5 points from 5 draws or something like that?
We had a manager that was heartless, in my opinion, which was clueless, thoughtless. Just remember he's saying, "I was brought here to just keep us ticking along."
Yeah.
Right. And
and then he wanted to keep the job.
And that how the audacity pass for him to stand up and say that. And even now, where he was on a show not so long ago, and he even said that he told the owners to go and get Eddie Howe. I mean, come on, man. You know, but honestly, the rest is history, mate. It's breathtaking now what we're going through. I know we're all want bigger and better things, but because our hands are tied, you've just got to.
Let's face it, we want bigger and better things, but they said it was a project. Yeah. 3 years into the project, we've had Champions League football.
Yeah.
Within the first full season of the takeover.
We've been
to a cup final.
Yeah.
We haven't finished below 7 since Howe's had a full season. He's had 2 full seasons, 4th and 7th.
Yeah.
We're on course this season to potentially, I think, comfortably finish in the top 7. I think we will. We could potentially get Champions League football. Could be out of our reach. We don't know. But from what the owner said to where we are now, we're ahead of schedule, aren't we, really?
Yeah. In ways, yes. I totally believe that. But the main man in charge of everything, he says, "What's your aim?" And that is to be number 1. Yep, to be number 1. If you watch the documentary and watch the determination of what that man says, what's your aim? And it's to be number 1. And I believe eventually, however we get there, in whatever direction we take, I still think we will get to be competing to be number 1. I'm not going to say we will be number 1. I'm going to say competing to be up there to be number 1.
Yeah, absolutely great. Evening, Mo. Nice to see you in the chat. Thanks for joining us. I mean, loads of Man City want to be number 1, but they're not number 1. I don't think to be number 1, you've got to do it for a very long time, and you've got to eclipse Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich.
You've just took the words out of my. You've just took the words right out of my mouth there, Baz. Right? There's two. I mean, Barcelona were there forever, right? But two teams, in my opinion, different parts of Europe. Bayern Munich. If you look at Champions League success of where these top sides continuously finish at the top level, Real Madrid's up there with the top, and Bayern Munich are up there with the top all the time. And if we can compete with them on a regular basis, whatever shape or form or platform we are in, that'll do me.
Yeah, 110%. I remember Cairns Day very well because I remember getting the news on the 6th of October that it was happening. And I told my friends in a group chat that I had, and they're like, now you're talking bollocks. 2 hours later, they started breaking the news in the group chat. I was just like, I just said that 2 hours ago. I said it was a load of bollocks. It was brilliant. And then it took 24 hours for it to finally break and happen because we were just waiting for the paperwork to be signed. We knew it was going to happen. And then it happened while I was sitting down having frigging dinner with the family, didn't it? So I couldn't jump online and do anything. I was like, for fuck's sake. It's just how things work out, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, Cairns Day anniversary, everyone. It's been an amazing 3 years. I personally think we've come on leaps and bounds. I think you do as well, Ian, and the progress the club's made. Yes, we had some frustration times with injuries, a couple of poor transfer windows, but overall the transfer windows have actually been very, very good. You know, you think of the players we brought in, and Botman, Bruno, Isak, Gordon, Barnes, Dan Burn, Trippier, Tino, Lewis Hall, you know, Tonali, probably going to be one of the best footballers we'll ever see in a black and white shirt, potentially, if he fills his potential. Nick Pope as well, of course. You know, all these players, and there's more. I've missed out some. But when you think about that, and then you think about what we had the previous 14 years, that is just a polar opposite. But people are still unhappy, and I just don't get it. Sometimes they forget what we had to what we've got now, and they expected us to explode like a Man City, which was never going to happen because of restrictions. So personally, I think it's been an unreal journey so far. And Martin said this, and we've all said this as well. Sometimes the journey to get to the Premier League title is more enjoyable than actually having the Premier League title and doing it every other year. The journey is the thing to enjoy the most.
Do you know what it is? That's really hard for a Newcastle United fan to actually accept because we haven't actually won a title yet. But you've just this is why I have so much respect for Martin, and when I speak to him, because he's not a fan that's just jumped on the bandwagon. He's been there from day to day dot. Right, he's been there through the horrible times. He's been there through the great times. So when he goes through all the situations and the transformations of your club, where it's going to go and where it's going to take, you can see a path what Newcastle United's trying to follow in the same footsteps of Manchester City. Now, you either be on board with it or you're not. That's as simple. You always said that to me. You're either on board with it or you're not. And it's awful to sound that way, but unfortunately, you've got to support your football club. And do you know, the steps we've taken in 3 years, in my opinion, on and off the field, mind, and you look at our training facility, for an example, straight away, how much money ploughed into that. To me, they've had to do it, but to take our club to that next level, for me, it's like a dead money situation in my eyes, because look at what Manchester City did. They just went and I mean, I know they had stadiums and everything in place because of the Olympics. I get that. We're going to have to start from scratch, right? But what we've done is we've and make our football club become, in small strides, become better and more professional for our. To me, we basically be more attractive to get a better player come to the football club. Going forward, we have to be even bigger. So that's the little things what people don't realise, what they actually invest in small term, but big term. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. I really can't.
There's so much more to come from them, isn't there? Right. Let's have a look at what the main reason why we are here is to talk about Saturday's 0-0 game. Anniversary is obviously a bit amazing, but again, there was a football match played on Saturday. This was the lineup, so we were unchanged. No surprising after the Man City performance.
Yeah, the team picked itself, mate. You couldn't change it anyway. Simply because the personnel had available, and you've just got to give respect to them players that performed against Manchester City. It'd be very, very harsh on anybody who actually dropped out because there was no injuries. What we knew, different, but
well,
I still think that team, the way we came off the back of Manchester City, I just thought would have momentum to take us forward to get the points there, mate. I really did.
Well, I did hear a rumour that apparently Isak could have played on Saturday, but because of Bonds, he said we are not risking any players. So that's why he didn't start. That's why he wouldn't even make the bench. They just said, nope, he's back after the international break. Now, are you happy to hear that? Or do you think sometimes there's a situation where you should risk potentially a player to get those 3 points?
See, no, definitely not, because definitely not. Because last season we ran that risk and it kicked us in the bollocks big time, mate. Big time, because we played players and we ran them to the ground. I know what we didn't have the bench or whatever to do it, but we then took risks week in, week out of players that could be available, might be available, just because you put an Isak there because of his name or a centre forward. Now, for me, it was the right decision to do. The frustrating thing is, I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, Basil. When you're 0-0 and you've got 10 minutes to go, why on earth has he not changed the formation? And this is what drives me up the wall at times where HOWAY is. He doesn't seem to change things when he's stuck in his ways. That why can't he give Asula 10 minutes? Right?
Maybe because after Tuesday night, he played the full 90, and let's face it, it was the same sort of similar game that patterned out. There was no space. Asula's got pace, and that's what he plays on. And you're talking about a player that couldn't score against the League Two team. Would you throw him in against Everton?
But if
I get what you mean, but I'm just trying to think on the Eddie Howe side of things.
Yeah, if you flip the coin and we get a 1-0 win and Asula scores, what does that do for his confidence, and what does that do for Newcastle United? So you've got to, you cannot, for me, you just can't revert back to type just because he trusts the players. This is what drives me crackers sometimes, Eddie Howe. Yes, he trusts the players that he's got, but he signed this kid for a reason. And sometimes...
What was the reason, though? Is it to be third choice backup, or is it for the future? And is he, like a Miley, going to be getting thrown in for opportunities because of injuries again?
For me, the reason why we signed him because PSR, and that was probably the only forward available at the price. Now,
that could be, how many subs did we make?
No.
His hands might have been tied.
Before the subs were made.
Yeah, right? But didn't Trippier come off with like 15 minutes to go or something?
We look, maybe some 5 minutes out or whatever. The point I'm trying to make is when you've got to, if you've got a forward on the pitch, I understand if you've got. I mean, we were going into games last season, Baz, we had 3 goalkeepers on the bench.
Oh yeah, right? I totally agree. But all I'm trying to think of is, has he held the substitute back because he did make a lot of changes quite early in the game to try and influence it, and he's kept one back just in case there was an injury, and there was an injury potentially to Trippier. So we could have been down to 10 men had we thrown all our men on. I'm just trying to think outside the box here.
I get you with that, but for me, Eddie Howe is a like-for-like substitution man. He'll take the right one off. Do you know?
Yeah, I get that.
That's what I thought Everton were there for the taking. I really did, and I thought Everton were there for the taking for, I would say 60% of that game, right? Whenever I was shooting boots on, but if you need to change things and just be brave. Be brave. You know, you just cannot bring in, you know, there's times, Baz, where we just brought Murphy off and brought Almiron on. It just went like for like. Why couldn't we not just change things and give him a chance? You know, there's a forward there, and we're crying out, and people say, oh, your two forwards are injured. I get Gordon goes in there and does a really good. He's a good option there, right? But he's a 10, and he's very unorthodox where he plays, so he's not like a centre forward. But when you're trying, for me, away from Everton, when it was something there, why not do that? Do you know what it is? His arsehole and went in the back of the net. Who cares?
Well, I mean,
do you know? He's the one for you, right? He's the one for you. If Chris Wood was on that bench, would Eddie Howe return to Chris Wood before Sula?
Yes.
Right. So this is what I'm saying about the people that he trusts. You've got to take
Chris Wood's a proven goal scorer and Premier League proven player. He scored 10 plus goals, how many seasons and all that sort of stuff. So you can see why you would, if you had the older, more reliable player on the bench, of course you would have went to him first.
I get that, right? So this is why he'll revert to type, where he'll go Murphy off, Miggy on. If Gordon was on the left and Isak was playing, right? If Isak was playing and Gordon was on the left and he wasn't a bad game, he would bring Harvey Barnes on to replace Gordon. So he wouldn't. This is why I get a little bit frustrated there. When is the game's not quite working out right, change things up. Bring a Sula on and leave Gordon up there. Put two up. Don't just revert to type and play the same players, because nothing changes in my eyes. That's why I get a little bit frustrated.
No, I get that. And I think sometimes he has done it, especially against City. That when we got beat 3-2, remember last season, you put Gordon up front with Isak and asked them to play a sort of a 2 on the break. I think we're struggling because we're playing against teams who, like Wimbledon on Tuesday night, we were asked to break them down, and we couldn't, because we didn't really have that number 10 playing in a number 10 who could unlock defences like an Odegaard or a Kevin De Bruyne. You know, we didn't really have that in our midfield. And we didn't have, a lot of the time, I felt the attack was static as well, wasn't it?
If you've got that 10 to unlock, you need a forward.
Yeah, of course you do.
Because
I think Gordon's pace, I mean, let's not forget how many chances we actually had in this game to actually bury it.
I am not taking away that at all, Baz. I am not. My point is, when things aren't going well, you've got to take a risk to change things, in my opinion, and take risks. And top managers, right, become great managers from taking risks. Fergie's done it. All of them.
Oh, yeah, I've seen Fergie hold 4 up front when they were 1-0 down and win games 2-1.
Even, why do you think Miguel Arteta signed Trossard?
Yeah.
How many times has that man pulled him out the shite?
No, I agree.
Loads.
It's having players who can make a difference from the bench. And at the moment, when you look at our bench, and I looked at it and I thought, where could we make changes? There was nobody really there who can make a difference and have an impact like a Trossard. We only had Willock, who was probably the best player on the bench who could potentially be starting in a game. And that is our problem at the moment, because we don't have those options like Arsenal, like Man City, and like Man United did in the past. Man United were the best at doing it under Fergie. They would throw Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on. The best finisher substitution I've ever seen in my life. And look what happened in the Champions League final against Bayern Munich. You hide them all up front and they ended up winning the game. It's crazy.
Now, to change a game, I believe in Willock, because he gets you up the pitch, he can run with the ball. There's not many players what we can that can take that ball on with any stride and do that. Take a gamble, in my opinion, because a forward, even though you said he didn't create much in Wimbledon, he's got a forward brain. Anthony Gordon said the last game, I'm very orthodox because I'm not a centre forward, so I find myself in positions. Look at how many times did that ball go across the box against Manchester City? Jacob Murphy put some fantastic balls in. Because we didn't have a forward in there, we didn't capitalise on that. I believe Callum Wilson against Manchester City taps 2 of them in.
Yeah, I agree.
Even against Everton, I believe the balls and possession around that ball, if Callum Wilson was playing, we'd have scored goals. My point is, if we had a forward on, you might get half a chance, but because you think like a forward, you might all of a sudden be in a situation where you find yourself in the box and the ball will deflect and you get that chance to put it in the back of the net. For me, take a risk at times and just don't play safe. And that's the only critic I've got of Eddie Howe, because I love him. I think he's a great manager.
No, yeah, I mean, he's the one for us. We've always said that. I'm just playing devil's advocate. You've got to do that doing these shows. You've got to ask the questions. You've got to throw other things out there. Not that I always agree with them, but it's always a good conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the first half again, though, I mean, we should have been 2-0 up, personally. There was how I am still bemused at how Bruno didn't score and how that defender managed to clear that ball off the line when it hit his calf. How is that not gone in the back of the net? And it was quite a well-worked corner as well, wasn't it? Because we're not great from corners. I think we need a set-piece coach. I think we need someone to go in there and try and teach them some. I mean, we used to be good at set pieces, then suddenly we're crap again. I don't get it. But how did that ball not go in?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great flick from Tonali.
Yeah.
Which was obviously found Bruno at the back. He had time.
He's done everything right, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he's hit the target. It's a volley on the side foot. He's controlled it well. It's just, how is it not gone in?
It's one of them, you know. I just thought, I'd say the corner was decent, good flick on. And sometimes you see them corners go in, sometimes you don't. It was a decent set play, to be honest. You know,
it's just how it's hit the defender the way it's hit him and not gone in the back of the net. I still don't understand the physics. That it must have hit him in the perfect place for that ball to go out the way it did, because it was right in the middle of the goal as well. It was just, that was the moment for me. Do you know when you have those moments in a football game and you think
it's going to be one of them?
It's not going to be all night. Yeah, that was it. And then the penalty doubled down on that thought straight away. I mean, it's 100% the penalty. There's no getting away from it. How do you not get a yellow card is my first question. And then, should Gordon have taken it?
Yes.
So yes to the yellow card and yes to taking the penalty.
It was definitely a pen. 1,000,000%. Definitely a pen. Nobody questioned Gordon last week when he stepped against Manchester City. Nobody did. This one, do you know, if he scores, everybody goes, great character, great penalty.
Yeah.
And just because he's missed, everybody's going, he shouldn't have took the penalty against his old club. Some people even messaged me and said he's took a bung, man. Come on, man. You know, it's crazy, right?
No.
It's now Gordon's with Pickford at England. There's the shithousery going on even more, because you know, it's one of these ones where you either do or you don't. Who else would have took that penalty? There's only Fab Shaw, in my opinion, who should have took that penalty before him.
Tonali, Bruno, they're all
would have been Fab Shaw.
very good penalty takers. I mean, the critic I have of Gordon's penalty is that if it was Isak, he scores, because Isak watches the keeper all the time. Pickford moved very quickly. Pickford moved really quickly.
Yeah,
and all you have to do was watch him and put it in the other corner.
I watched that penalty 3 times now because I wanted to be critical of Pickford. And I wanted to say he came off his line, but he didn't. His back foot stayed on that line.
Yeah, he still had a foot on the line, yeah.
Right, his back foot stayed on that line. I was thinking, right, I've got a great thing to come back at him now. He's moved off his line. It should have been retaken. Nah. He's had you know what it is. I think and I've said this before, I think Pickford's one of the best about, right? I think his distribution's absolutely fantastic. Probably a little bit of mind games gone on, because they did say something. Was Gordon wrong to take the penalty? No, not in my opinion, because I think he's one of our better penalty takers.
I just think it was a poor one. That's it.
Yeah, poor penalty. You know, last week against City, I thought his penalty was. I think the nerves last week was bigger than the one yesterday. On Saturday.
There's a fault. Be interesting if we could ask him. Honestly, I think Isak scores that penalty because Pickford went so early to that side, and I think Pickford's guessed that side straight away because he knows he went the other way against City. And maybe he's seen Gordon in training. He goes one way, the other way, one way, the other way. He kind of has like a, if I've gone right, I go left next time. If I go left, I go right next time. I think that's how he's thinking. And that's why he guessed that side quite quickly.
It's the 50-50 chance, Baz, where
yeah, of course it is.
The keeper looks brilliant, or Gordon looks brilliant. I still don't. I think he was the right person to take the pen. Pickford came out on top. Simple as that. Mm. Next time, if we're at home, we get a penalty. Gordon takes it. I think he puts it home.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't back against him.
Yeah,
but I was nervous when he was taking that pen. I was nervous when he took the Man City pen. I'm always nervous for penalties. It's just one of those things. Because you should score and you don't.
I was more nervous the Manchester City one than I was on Saturday.
Yeah, but after seeing the City one, you feel you get more confidence. He's going to put the next one in, don't you?
That's why I was more nervous with the Manchester City one.
Mm. Yeah, I get that. We were also very lucky in the first half because there was some poor defending when Decore scored that great header, by the way, that flew in the top corner. I was just like, oh my God. But they'll give the right back far too much space. Great cross, great header. Luckily, he was just offside. But the warning signs were there that, Everton could do something if they got, the ball high enough the pitch, couldn't they?
Yeah. And I thought they really worked. I thought they worked the player very well that time as well. It was one of them where I thought our back line was quite good, but we're just caught in between on everyone. The ball was fantastic, and I mean the header was brilliant as well. And I was glad he was just a half a yard offside, because when he scored, I never even once questioned that he was offside. I just thought, oh, great goal, But
yeah, from the angle they scored, you can't really see the offside, can you? As soon as I saw the first replay, I was like, right, that's offside. Yeah, I'm not worried now.
Which I was like, right, let's go again, But I thought it was a good play from Everton. I thought it was a cracking finish. We're glad he was offside.
There was also one where, if I remember, Murphy crossing it, and it was right to Gordon at the back post, and maybe an Isak would have went direct that goal for the header, but he tried to head it down instead. And it fell to Joe Linton, but he flung it over the bar. Now, that was another decent chance. And again, is it because of that striker's instinct lacking in Gordon? Maybe he should have went back across goal with his header like a Les Ferdinand would have done, or a Shearer would have done. Or do you think he played the right idea, knocking the ball back into Joe Linton's feet?
I think you've just answered your own question in a way, mate, at the end. And it's that number 10 instinct where sometimes you'll act like a forward and go, wow, what a goal. And then the next time you'll act like a 10er, you'll give the ball away and go, well, I did try and find somebody else. It's that unorthodox play what Anthony Gordon thrives on. But he'll come back bigger and better because he'll work hard. It's frustrating because when you're a 10, these things come off absolutely brilliantly. But when they don't come off, you get critiqued.
Yeah, it makes him look worse when he's playing as a striker, doesn't it? I mean, the first half, it was absolutely ridiculous, the stats. I mean, we had 71% of possession. Our expected goals was 1.13, which is really good. We had one big chance. We had 6 shots. Keeper only made 1 save, though, which is the disappointing thing. We didn't really hit the target enough in the first half. But Everton, literally 2 shots, that's it.
Yeah.
They came at their own home ground and relied on Pickford hitting the ball forward and trying to win anything off Calvert-Lewin. And I thought Calvert-Lewin had a very good first half, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, we've said on the show that Allardyce way would be that to miss out our main areas, which will be from Pickford, because his distribution is absolutely fantastic. I mean, the stats showed first half that we was in control of that football match. However, we still lacked that cutting edge to be ahead. And I thought it was quite an even first half. As much as we had more possession, more shots and everything, we still didn't create that edge. Do you know what I mean? To get us through. And I mean, you've got to remember as well that Dominic Calvert-Lewin had another cracking effort at the first half.
We're coming to that. That's no second half.
That was first half.
First half, I can't.
Yeah, Trippier tried to play a ball inside, give it a ball away. It was terrible. The counter attack down.
Yes, yeah, I remember
The
that.
counter attack down our right hand side, and played it in Calvert-Lewin, dropped his shoulder inside of Dan Burn and Fab Shaw, and played a ball straight into Nick Pope. Now, I think on the half, I mean, including the disallowed goal, I thought their chances were quite good, as much as they didn't have. I thought there were more attacking chances, and I just thought that the game was pretty even at the half, and I just felt we had so much more to give on a front foot side, as much as we were in. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say here?
I do, but the actual expected goals, even with the Everton chances you talk about, was 0.10 for Everton. That's how poor they were, and ours was 1.13. So it shows that our chances were bigger, and they were bigger because we had one play off the line, we had a penalty miss. You know, we had the better chances. I mean, they only had 140 passes to our 339, which just tells us its own story, doesn't it?
It's for me, it's what you do with the football when you're passing as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course it does. But like I said, and that goes into the expected goals. And expected goals, if you weren't creating chances, you would be like 0.40 or something like that. But we were 1.13, which is one of the highest we've had this season. So it shows we were getting in the right areas. We just weren't capitalising on the situations, which comes to the second half, because it happens again in the second half. Now, Miggy comes on. I thought Miggy made a difference.
Yeah,
his deflected shot would have flew in the back of the net for me. I don't think Pickford saving that if it hadn't have took that little deflection off the thigh and flew just wide. The most frustrating one for me, that there's two chances. There was one when Gordon gets played in by Miggy, a lovely little, it was only a 5-yard pass, but it was one of the first passes that was split between the midfield and the defence, and Gordon got in down the right-hand side and smashed it over the bar.
Yeah.
But there was a chance when Miggy was running in down the right, and the ball was played too slow and behind him, which stopped his momentum going into the box, which could again given us another one-on-one. That was the most frustration thing about the night for me, was the passing. I don't know if it's the way Everton watered the ground. It wasn't as slick. It wasn't as fast. The pitch wasn't playing as quickly as we're used to. But I saw quite a lot of that, either sloppy passing or just slow passing.
See, you've just picked on a few. You've just picked up on a few things there, right? And that's first half, which is fine. Which when I thought the game was quite. Let's see, I'll repeat myself. As much as we had a lot of chances and a lot of football, I thought it was quite even. Second half, right? Now this is the difference here, and I've picked up here. Bruno's had a great chance when he's curled it over the crossbar.
Well, I was going to come to that one as well. His left foot shot was shocking.
Right.
That was a massive chance, and that was when Gordon was actually on the left wing. That was his best involvement in the game as a centre forward, but he was out on his favourite left wing, wasn't he?
Yeah, and you've brought up on the Almiron, which was a volley, which took a slight deflection, which went in. Then you've got Gordon going over the crossbar, which you've picked up.
1-on-1.
And then you've got Joe Linton at the end, where we had great chances, and he pushes past the post. So you've got good chances there.
Opportunities. The Almiron one would have been a great opportunity had the pass been in front of him and not behind him. You know, it was one of those nights, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, and for me, the chances, I thought the chances were there second half more than the first half. If you take away the penalty, them were the three chances. Yeah. Take away the penalty first half. I think them were the three chances there. On a different day, I think we score. And because Everton for me, second half, I thought
they could have nicked it.
Yes, they could have nicked it, definitely. But I thought second half overall, chances wise, I think I was more frustrated because I think we could have won the football match.
We'll come to that in a little bit because that's a little talking point in itself. We've got to thank Nick Pope again, though, because what a save from Dominic.
That was a great save.
Now, everybody other than Everton fans think it was a penalty on Dan Burn.
No.
Of course it wasn't. Right, there's a few reasons why. One, the ball is pushed behind Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin goes to the referee, says, I'm going to score. There's no way he's wrapping his foot around that ball and putting it in the net. Not a chance in hell. Dan Burn is favourite to get to the ball first, and Calvert-Lewin's kicked the back of his leg and took him down. It's why it's not a penalty. But the reason why I think they're screaming so much for the penalty is to actually overshadow the horrific miss from their player coming in. He should have buried that.
100%. I can see the frustration why the penalty wasn't given, because I know Fab Shaw, we got one.
Yeah, we've had a couple like that, haven't we? We had one against Everton, which someone highlighted in COVID season when Wilson got booted from behind when he was near the corner line inside the box. And
I can't remember the specific game, but it was at last season when Fab Shaw went to strike the ball in the box and it was very, very similar.
Yeah.
And we got the penalty.
There's been a few like that. Gordon's done it a few times, hasn't he? Where he's nicked in front of the defender clearing a ball and he's got kicked and he's gone down and got a penalty. You know, I do feel the frustration for Everton, but they have to look at the scenario where the ball is. You know, there's a distinct advantage for their player just to put the ball in the back of the net. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin was never scoring.
I think as well it's the intention of the player, what he's trying to do, and I think Dan Burn was absolutely honest as the day was long.
Yeah.
You had no intention to try and take the player out there, and obviously he's kicked the back of his leg, which for me is not a penalty. The follow-up, for me, the miss is absolutely comical. You know,
I mean, was he 8 yards out and he's bled it over the bar like that?
Bled over the bar. But
you were very lucky.
You know, you're begging when you miss a chance like that. So you're begging for a decision to go your way. The correct.
It's one of those ones. Please put the flag up.
Yeah, it's the correct decision for me. No penalty at all.
Yeah. Let's come back to this one because this is a good point. I thought he took Barnes off far too early. I would have took Murphy off and kept Barnes on the left and brought Miggy on earlier than what he did. That would have been my first change because I thought Murphy was showing nothing in the game. And bearing in mind, he was up against Ashley Young, one of the oldest players on the pitch. Now, you put Miggy on there a bit earlier, he could have ran at him a lot more than what he had the opportunity to do. I know Barnes it wasn't a fantastic game for him, but I would have said Murphy was worse than Barnes at that point when he made the changes.
Again, if you had a centre forward on the pitch, what would you do? You've got the options of doing something completely different. And that's a frustration thing for me because for me, Barnes has got quality that can win you a football match. And this is why I said about taking a punt on Asula, because you just don't know. I don't think on a percentage level Murphy can do it as much as Barnes can, as we've seen. He can win football matches from nothing. And I think you need to keep them footballers on the football pitch. I really do.
We only took Barnes off maybe later on, but I just think it was a 65th minute, wasn't it? And he takes off Barnes instead of Murphy. I was just thinking I wouldn't have made that sub, but that's why we're not managers, I guess.
So why can't you not adapt to a formation of putting Asula up top and then leaving Barnes on, putting Gordon as a 10 and then Almiron out wide? So why? And then you've got so many attacking options there, where Gordon's in that 10 role. You've got Asula who can have that attacking threat just to be in that areas, and you've still got a potential a player that can pull something out the bag and put something in the top corner. But then you've got the energy of Almiron coming off the bench to terrorise that fullback. Surely, when you brought Willock on and you've got Tonali wasn't having his very best of the game, so you can have Willock, Bruno, and Joe Linton in there. Then you've got your safeguard. So you know, why can't we not change something like that? So you've got to put someone in that 10 role where they feel more comfortable, rather than just going like for like. That's where I'm a bit frustrated.
I don't think Tonali had that bad of a game. I mean, stats-wise, and I know sometimes stats don't always tell the picture, but there was only 3 players in the Newcastle team that were under 7, and that was Shaw, Gordon, and Barnes. You know, Murphy is 7.2, Tonali is 7.2, Bruno is 7.6, Joe Linton is 7.4, Trippier is 7.3, Dan Burn is 7.3, Hall is 7.3, and Nick Pope is 7.2. So it just shows you that sometimes, because obviously they look at statistics and stats and passing and where you're effective.
Yeah.
sometimes players look better than what they are. Sometimes they look worse. They're actually better than what the stats suggest. So it's a strange one.
Do you know what? Baz, though, like, because there's an international break, I very much doubt this question will be asked. But in a press conference, I'd imagine a lot of reporters would say, yes, you've been frustrated, you've been away at Everton, but you've had quite a few chances in there and you haven't seemed to take them. If Eddie Howe can then turn around and say, "Wait, come on a minute, I've put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacking players in attacking areas. I've given my best. Just, you know, I've had a forward on, and then I can see I would just, for me, I just think we could have had more to take a risk to get that football match won. I really do. I really do.
But there's also the risk of putting too many attackers on. Do you then lose the game? And that's the balancing act, isn't it? Sometimes risk reward.
You go back to your stats and how much possession did we have and how much control we were in that football match. These are the risks you've got to take to win Premier League football matches. And I think the top teams do this to win games time and time again when you're in control of the game. And I think sometimes Eddie Howe doesn't see that, and it frustrates us.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, the second half, Everton were much better. We only had 65% of possession. We still had 317 passes. They had 170. They had 6 shots. They had 2 big chances in the game, which we know of. Obviously, they all came in the same situation. We had 8 shots, but no big chances, which I find very strange because personally, I think the Bruno left foot shot that went over the bar was a big chance because it was just a terrible effort.
Gordon's not a great...
Yeah, according to this, it's not a big chance, and I think Anthony Gordon's is a massive chance. So again, stats sometimes don't always add up to, you know,
I know
what we see ourselves. I don't think so because the defenders blocked it. So the defender's there, so I don't think the class it is a big chance is like a one-on-one, you know, like a really easy chance that should be scored. And I don't think Almiron's was an easy chance to score, to be honest with you. I think it goes in if the defender's not there, and it's an easier chance. But because the defender's there, he's only got one side to aim for and all that sort of stuff. So since we tried to sign James Maddison a few years back, a type of player that we have been crying out for, we haven't signed since. When you think we are trying to sign Gear for 60 million? It's a tough one, isn't it? Because I think we wanted to sign a 10. I think we wanted to sign a right winger, but then with the Botman injury and the Lascelles injuries, it kind of highlighted the defence needed reinforcements more than what the attacking side need. But now that looks stupid because you've got Isak out and Wilson out, and we haven't got a right winger who's scoring goals and constantly assisting. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, aren't you, in that situation for me? Centre half isn't really well. See, I think it is technically because
me personally, Baz, I've said this, and I'll again, if you listen to what I've tried to say and I've tried to describe of possession player and stuff like that, it's critical if we get. I know he's not having the best of time at the minute at Crystal Palace, right? But I think he's a great ball player, and we need to. It starts from the back. I mean, look at. Again, we've struggled against an Everton team right now. We've went like for like again, which is it drives me crazy. But if we play 3 at the back, if you've got 3 comfortable, I mean, Dan Burns been fantastic this season. Fab Shaw when he's playing back there, and if you add Gay in there, you've got 3 great ball players, and then that's different. You can change things up. For me, that centre half is critical to this football club going forward. Fab Shaw's getting on. Dan Burn, I know he's been brilliant this season. Mr. Consistent, I think he's been one of our better players since kick-off this season, mate. I think he's been up there with the best. Going forward, we need, obviously, Botman's going to come back, but we don't know how he's going to come back. For me, that centre-half is absolutely critical. The right wing is critical, and I still think another forward's critical to take this football club forward.
This was one of my points I made to you about the game against Everton. Even though Dan Burn was excellent in his battle against Calvert-Lewin, every time he got the ball, I predicted exactly where it was going and how slow it was. Every time he got the ball, I went, that one's going to Hall. Turns like a bus, passes it to Hall. Gets the ball again, he looks, that one's going to Shaw. Went to Shaw. But it's slow. He's too... As much as I love him as a defender, and when he's having to battle, like against Man City, I can put up with them being slow on the ball. But when we're playing against an Everton team that's defending deep and they're only coming out at certain times, we need to move that ball so much quicker. And that's my only criticism of Dan Burn, is that when he gets the ball, he turns, you could telegraph it. And every time he got the ball, the Everton team were waiting for him for the press. They were telegraphing where the ball was going, and they weren't running towards Dan Burn. They were running to where the ball was going because they knew where he was passing it. It was too easy to read. And every time he did that, he put more pressure on Lewis Hall, because when he got the ball, he was looking up, boom, there was a player in front of him. You know, and if you had someone like, they never did it with Shaw. If you watch it, when Shaw got the ball, Everton sat back because they thought, shit, we can't press in, because if we come too high, he's going to ping it over the top. Yeah. You know, he can play the ball into midfield, into someone's feet very comfortably, where Dan Burn can't. Dan Burn can't do that. And that's my only criticism of that game, is that, you know, we needed to be faster moving the ball, and he was just too slow at doing it. But again, he had a great game defensively. I'm taking nothing away from his performance on that side of it. Which comes to the man of the match. You picked Dan Burn, I believe, in
no.
I thought you did.
I didn't pick Dan Burn. This is where people jump
on. Who's your man of the match then?
Bruno.
Bruno was man of the match, right? Fair enough. Bruno had a good game. I thought J7 was brilliant.
Right. All I said was about Dan Burn was, I just said he was exceptional again.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, defensively.
Yeah. And because obviously I'm a defender, I look at I thought his defensive side of the game was, I thought he was solid, really, really good. I thought he was our standout defender again.
He was, definitely. But I thought Lewis Hall was brilliant as well.
He was, without a shadow of a doubt. I thought it was one of his much better games. I thought Fab Shaw at times was brilliant. I thought Trippier at times was very good, but at times he was poor. Really, really poor.
Yeah, he dived in a few times again, didn't he? And got beat too easily.
Mate, I thought his distribution at times was terrible, which was frustrating. But I just think I've been his worst. I think I've been one of his worst. Tonali was poor, by the way. He started off quite okay, but then he gave the ball away in tight areas where he's normally bang on. He was quite sloppy. They could have scored off one anyway when he gave the ball away. But Joe Linton, I think these type of games suit Joe Linton. I really do.
Well, again, he was highlighted in the Man City game of all the work that he did, and he did that once again in the Everton game. He wasn't just a box-to-box midfielder. He was playing left back, centre back, centre midfield. He was even up front at one point when Gordon pushed out wide and when Barnes was tight on the touchline as well. He went up to be that centre forward. If the ball had to go long, he was going to win the headers. He did everything again, and I thought he was my man of the match, because I think he went as an unsung hero against Everton a little bit because of all the extra work that he did and all the work that he takes on as a player. I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, I totally agree everything what you said there, Baz. And the reason why I give it to Bruno was because I just thought his play on the ball was absolutely brilliant. His tight play was very good. He kept the ball decently. I just thought he stood out for me because I've watched him this season and I've been a little bit disappointed with him, but I just thought he was back to his best, so I was excited by him again. Joe Linton, I just think against Manchester City, when it comes to them games when you're playing against top sides when they have a lot of football, you'll find Joe Linton kind of doing his business very quietly. You'll find him sometimes being a little bit slow because they're that good on the ball. He'll get a hold of them and foul them. I just think against Everton, where the game's more scruffy at times, I just think it suits him down to the ground, and you'll see Joe Linton standing out. And I'm glad Joe Linton's had this kind of game because I don't think he's been at his best this season, and I'm hoping that this game is giving him a lot of confidence to get him back to the heights where he can be.
I think you're right. Hopefully he comes back after the international break, still bubbling, hopefully.
Yeah.
There's the league table. I mean, personally, I still think 6 points off the top. I mean, personally, I think just rule out the top three. That fourth spot is where we want to be aiming for. And we're only 2 points behind Chelsea. Chelsea dropped points Aston Villa dropped points. Spurs, I mean, Jesus Christ, what a game that was against Brighton. 2-0 up and then losing 3-2, which was not a great result for us. I wanted a draw. I'd predicted 2-2. I was close. But again, you know, you look at that table, how tight it is. We're still massively in the mix.
Yeah.
And we haven't had our full squad to pick from, which is the same sort of situation as last season. We're hanging in there. But this season, with January coming up as well, I think we'll have enough to at least push that top 5 if we can get the results. Now, this next week's massive for us. But, I mean, if you're going into the national break and it's said that we are 12 points, would you have been happy?
Oh, over the moon.
There you go. So, I mean, I don't understand all this down and out. I really don't.
I mean, I couldn't believe what I seen Eddie Howe out again at the weekend. Just it drives me. But, you know, if you look at that table, and we have again, what performances stood out this season? I mean, the start of when we were in our Champions League season, we started off against Aston Villa. We were world class, right? World class. And obviously, you had your Champions League games against Paris Saint-Germain. The heights were up there. This season, if you look back, what was the game that stood out to you and go, we were absolutely brilliant today?
Just Man City.
There you go then. So out of all the games we've played, just Man City, which is expected. Every other game we've been very critical that we've never getting out of the second gear. We've been really, really poor. We haven't really set the world alight. You know what I mean?
But we've grinded out results. That's what I like about it.
Look at the table where we're at. And I would say the only team that's really, really took it to us and had it, and it was Fulham.
Yeah, I mean, well, Southampton gave it to us a little bit. They should have won that game, but we won it 1-0 because that was a dogged performance with 10 men.
But I
Fulham
think
were fantastic, weren't they, to be fair?
Against us, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, Wolves were pretty good against us, but we ended up beating them 2-1 because we had the quality to win the game in the end.
To be where we are, to be where we are, we were still not firing all cylinders.
Yeah, I'm over the moon.
Well, I'm absolutely. And how many times have we been beat this season?
Once.
There you go. We are now coming into the second international break. We've been beat once. We're sitting 7th in the table, and we're still haven't consistently been playing well. So
do you know what the Fulham defeat reminds me of? It's that season when we did really well and we went to Brighton and got hammered 3-0.
That's quite easy that now because I think Brighton's playing absolutely brilliant.
No, but that's what that defeat reminds me of. We were going through a nice patch. We were winning games. We then went to Brighton thinking, we've got a chance of getting points here. And we got absolutely hammered. Yeah. And then we came back the next game and then started getting results again. It happens. There's a blip. There's always a blip in a Premier League season. There'll always be a run where you don't get the results that you think you deserve. Like against Everton, we feel we deserve 3 points. We're coming up against Chelsea and we'll be thinking, Jesus, I'd take a point and we could get 3.
I think more now because after in hindsight, because of the Tottenham result, people think the Everton one was the points lost. That's you've got to remember Everton away is not an easy fixture, by the way. As much as we had a lot of chances, would you have took a point before you went down there? I mean, I said it was going to be tough. I thought it was going to be a 2-1 tight game.
If Isak was fit, no, but because Isak wasn't fit,
with the players available.
Yeah, with players available, a point's not a bad result in my eyes.
Yeah.
But I would love to have got. I just don't like Everton.
Yeah, of course we don't. Of course we don't. Of course we don't. Right, but we won't be the only team that will go there this season and play well. Wait, I wouldn't say play well. I would say above average, create chances, and come away with nothing. Wait,
I agree.
Come away with a point.
Well, let's quickly jump on. We've got 2 more topics to finish off the night on. So we're going to talk about the stadium. So there's been apparently some very good conversations being made about moving St James's Park to Leazes Park. And this is something I've been saying for God knows how long. Basically, move the stadium to where Leazes Park is, exactly what they've just done there in the picture, and then knock down St James's Park and make that into a new Leazes Park. Now, apparently Leazes Park has lost its listed status because it hasn't been maintained by the council. It's costing too much to try and maintain it. And apparently there's been rats in there and stuff like that. So it's actually lost its protection status. Now, the council's desperate for money. They sell that land to us. We build the stadium on it. We then give them a park where St James's Park is. Everyone's a winner in. You know, the fans get what they want because we won't have to move out of St James's Park until that stadium's built. We'll have the multi-purpose stadium that the owners want. We'll have the capacity we need for everyone to get tickets and still probably have demand if we only go to, say, 70, 75,000. We'll also have it in the city, not far from where St James's Park is now. I mean, we're only talking a couple of 100 yards. It's the perfect solution to what's going on, isn't it?
Yeah. We obviously the new man that's been put on the board is there for a reason, by the way, and I think this new stadium's happening.
I do as well, personally.
I don't think an expansion of St James's Park with the amount of money that's going to cost is just for me as much as.
So it's Roger Fulltyne you're talking about, who's been added to the board of directors. He's head of property at Mortcombe Estates Limited, an asset management company that focuses on portfolio of global office, retail, hotel and leisure assets for the family of Jamie Rubin. And he's been added to the board of Newcastle.
We got wind of that a fortnight ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
So
right, there's been no discussions between Newcastle and the council. However, there's been discussions with other people around the land. So don't get caught out by all this other stuff. Yes, there's still a lot of hurdles to jump over. We haven't spoke to the council yet, but I think the council will be very, very interested in what Newcastle have to say and how much money they could get for that land. And that could then, it'll offer so many more jobs towards the city. You know, oh Jesus, there's so much to do, John, but don't rule it out.
It's not just match day revenue what this brings to the city. It's other. I mean, look what's just took part at Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, the NFL at the weekend while they were playing football. Now,
the amount of money that is created is ridiculous. And
the figures?
This is what I'm saying. Newcastle United will be run as a business. Like it or lump it. And that's how
it is, right?
And that's to be a successful football club, our business is going to take us in that direction. And that stadium is going to be a massive part of it, in my opinion.
Listen to this. Newcastle capacity, 52,000. Spurs capacity, 61,000. Newcastle's match day revenue, 43 million a season. Spurs match day revenue, 125 million.
Mm-hmm. That's just football.
That's just football. And then add all the other stuff on top of it. Boxing, music concerts, NFL football. Jesus Christ, man. We're talking about a hell of a lot of money that goes towards our PSR.
Yeah.
And you said it at the start of the show, Ian. Do we want to be a team that competes? We have to either move forward or stay in the past like we've done and live in the past and live in St James's Park the way that, I mean, I love St James's Park. We all do.
Yeah.
But we're talking about progression and winning trophies and having the money to be able to do it. That's the way to do it, isn't it?
If you think how frustrated we are now with every transfer window.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine if there was a possibility of a new stadium and we turned it down as fans just to go because we wanted to stay at home but we couldn't sign another player for the next 25 years? How do you feel about that? Or going into a brand new stadium where it allows us to expand our transfer budgets to take it to that next level where we can compete every single year at the top? I know what mine would be.
Well, that's how they should pose it to fans. They should say, right, we stay at St James's Park. This is the match day revenue. This is what it looks like to go to our budget. Let's just say, for example, match day revenue for the season, our summer budget will be, because of the capacity and because of this, it will be an extra 20 million put on top of it.
Yeah.
And then there'll be 20 million put on top of the January window as well. However, though, if we move just down the road to a brand new stadium and offer all this sort of stuff and all the money comes in, match day revenue will increase by this amount. So in the summer window and in the January window, we can offer an extra 60 million rather than 20 million. So that's an extra 40 million in each window. The fans are going to think and go, It's quite a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to help us buy more players. And that gets you on the thinking trail more than just saying, right, we're knocking down St James's Park and we're moving you into that stadium. And not giving a reason behind it, you know, would be crazy. So there's got to be open. The dialogue's got to be there. But I'm all for it, to be fair now, because I've seen what Spurs are making, and I'm like, I didn't know that, and now I know that. It makes me even more determined that we do need to compete. It's impossible to compete with Spurs because of their revenue. It's crazy. Yeah. It makes me sick. Right, the other news that's come out today, obviously the big news is that Man City won their case against the Premier League when it come to same party ownership, sponsorship. It's got nothing to do with their 115, 130 charges, whatever they're alleged to have broken. Remember, still not being found guilty, so it's alleged. And this is massive. Some of the stuff that's come out from big accounts. Man City are open to pursue compensation and costs from the Premier League for abusing its position. Newcastle can do that now as well, potentially, because we've been missing out on so many sponsorship deals because of it. Man City have won their legal claim against the Premier League's associated party transaction rule are unlawful. They're unlawful, guys. This is massive. This could lead to a change in rules and allow Man City to strike new lucrative deals. Not just Man City, every other club in the Premier League will be able to do it as well. City successfully argued that shareholder loans should not be excluded from the scope of the APT rules. That is huge, by the way, because those rules, those loans, there's about 4 or 5 clubs have got them, and Arsenal have got 200 million in interest-free loans from their stakeholders. And that is not going towards PSR. That is another way of going around the rules, these loopholes, to be able to make sure you can compete in transfer windows. And that shouldn't be allowed. What else was there? I've got so much stuff everywhere. Bookmarks, everything in Twitter. The key facts to take away from it. Rules deemed unlawful because they did not take into consideration interest-free loans from shareholders to clubs. Likely change in the regulations could lead City striking more lucrative deals and seeking damages from the Premier League. Clubs with higher levels of borrowing now in danger of breaching the profitability sustainability rules. Arsenal's title rivals have been borrowing more than 200 million, making up the entirety of shareholder loans. Premier League's stance was backed by Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, West Ham, Brentford, Bournemouth, Fulham and Wolverhampton Wanderers. All those clubs are now massive enemies. You have blood on your hands. Never mind our money, blood money. You are all in breach of being anti-competitive. Richard Masters breached his own rules, was discriminatory in how they operate, abused its dominant position. You know, how has he still got a job?
I was just about
it's ridiculous.
To say, he should be sacked now.
He should be.
Or
then,
the two. But
yeah, he's got to. He's got to. This is even bigger, though. I love this one very quickly. Expert witness called Newcastle United Football Club. I love that. Written statements put in evidence by the respondent. Also, obviously, we were a witness towards it. Teams against it, as we mentioned, West Ham, Manchester United, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal. You know, even Everton were on Man City side. So there was us, Chelsea and Everton all give their witness towards it. I didn't know that. Everton have got 450 million in interest-free loans. Brighton have got 400 million. Arsenal 250 million. Brighton have got 400 million in interest-free loan. That is interesting because that puts them in big trouble, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, even the Times have jumped on it, which is unlawful, which is brilliant to see. Yeah. I mean, Jesus, what could this? I mean, a lot of people are saying this won't do. They'll make a slight change to the rules and do and, you know, this and that. But if they've been found unlawful, they should be allowed to be done. there's no way they can stop us from putting our sponsorships forward now.
And this is what we've been hanging back for, because I think they knew all along that we must have had a strong case to do it.
I just don't understand why we haven't done it ourselves, why we haven't took them to court. I know Man City were already thinking about it, but at that point, can you imagine having 2 clubs going at the Premier League suing them for this?
Let somebody else, let the big boys do it.
I know, but I'm just thinking, just get your boot in while you can.
I mean, I'm looking forward. I cannot wait for the phone call tomorrow.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me what happened, because my last day off is tomorrow. I'm back to work on Wednesday. I need to know what's going on.
Quite exciting, put that way.
Do you think it's going to be a massive positive for us? Because I've seen a lot of people saying it's just helping City.
I've seen this emergency meeting. Is that right? They've asked all Premier League clubs to come in.
Well, I've not seen that.
I'm sure I've seen I can't remember who's put it on before I came on. I'm sure a journalist has put on as an emergency meeting asking all Premier League clubs to come in. Whether it's true or not, I don't know.
I mean, technically they're going to have, because if they need to change the rules, they need the buy-in of at least 14 of the clubs, don't they?
What are they going to change it to, though?
I don't know.
That's the thing. Yes,
but they're saying they're unlawful at the moment, so they're going to have to do something, aren't they?
Aye, because we're going to come in sticking our chests out like robins.
Of course we are. I hope so.
There we go.
And there it is. Yes, confirmed by Times that there's an emergency meeting next week. So the international break's probably the best chance for them to get everyone around the table and get them discussing it. But we've got to put our foot down. We need to be able to compete. And PIF are going to, if they're really, really adamant about getting to the number 1 spot, this is where they need to put the foot down now and try and broker the deals that lets us get ahead of where we are. I don't want to, we don't want to be the next Man City in a way. We don't want to just buy. But what we want to be able to do is compete. And that's what we're not able to do at the moment. So the rules need to be more flexible, because how are Chelsea getting away with what they're doing?
They can sign 450 players without even an eyebrow raised.
A sniff, yeah.
It's ridiculous. I mean, exactly. What gives the Premier League a right to say, you've got all this money and I'm going to buy a house next to you, Baz, but I can't put the same doors on as what you've got in your house. I can't have what's in it stinks. And we're going to, I'm just hoping now that this has opened up. We can expand by sponsorship in a way where Armaco can come in, which we all know is huge. I wouldn't get too excited about the training ground or anything like that, because potentially we're going to be hopefully going on to bigger and better things. But other potential sponsorship deals where like our training kit and stuff like that. Where
training kit, new stadium name. If we're only going to be there for a couple of years, you might as well milk it.
Yeah, of course you do. Milk the whole lot and try and get as much as you can. But it's got to be positive for us. It's got to be. If it is positive and everything comes through, and if we've got what was left of this summer budget, Baz, was it 120 million or something along them lines?
Yeah, roughly around about that. And
if we can put a couple of lucrative sponsor deals in place going in, maybe we can get another 100 million. HOWAY. That'll do us. I know inflated transfer prices come on players in January, but if you've got a flexibility of spending 200 million in this current market, I think we'll be the top spenders in January and take us forward.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm so happy Man City have won that case, because it really does put an eye opener. And Sky are just...
I mean, did you see? I mean, I couldn't believe what I seen tonight on Sky.
Yes, was this the Kovac lot, whatever you call it?
Unbelievable how...
Saying that Newcastle were going to do some dodgy deals, or like fake deals.
Fake sponsorships? I mean, how can he go on a worldwide platform and speak false negative comments like that.
On Man City winning a case and Newcastle's name have to be mentioned in it.
But we're the ones that's going to bend the rules to try
Yeah.
and years. When all of us, like, don't get me wrong, he was turning around and saying that Manchester City have bent the rules and they're going to be found, potentially going to be found guilty. Now they've been found.
There's only on this one thing. Remember, the 150, 130 charges are still ongoing as a separate case. This was a separate case along the lines of just the financial shackles that the Premier League put on Man City with same party transitions. We've got to make sure we keep them completely separate.
Yeah, but then he was turning around and saying that they'll be found guilty, and then because they've been found innocent, it's our prerogative to do dodgy dealings. And he actually said that live on Sky. And if that's not corruption to the finest level, I have never seen anything like it in my life.
Crazy, and remember, Leicester also won their case as well.
Brilliant, absolutely. I was over the moon for Leicester, really was, because coming up from the Championship and then potentially get the 10-point deduction, and then
for something that happened 2-3 years ago. We've already been punished enough by being out of the league for a year.
Exactly, and what they were trying to do, they're just trying to get the parachute payment back in money. That's exactly what they're trying to try and punish them in the bike. Oh, there's your 10-point deduction. And I think it's absolutely fantastic that they were proven innocent.
And I think it's cost the Premier League so far this year £50 million to defend themselves in court. It's going to cost them more. But do you know what they do, though? They take the money back from all the Premier League teams.
They do?
Yeah. So they're just, the Premier League teams back in the Premier League, stopping teams like us going forward is actually costing them money themselves.
Who's the woman that's above Masters?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sure there's Masters and I'm sure there's a woman. I can't remember her name now.
Premier. What should I word it as? Premier League. It's not officials.
I'm sure she's worse than Masters. That's really.
I'll put who runs the Premier League governance.
I'm sure we've brought this up before.
I can't remember her name. Alison Britannian. Is it Britain?
That's her.
CBE chair.
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah. Since the 3rd of January 2023. So she's been in the job on not that long, actually, really, when you think about it. A year and a bit. Yeah. So, yeah. But again, she has experience of operating or consumer-facing service environments. She's had 25 years senior management experience in major financial institutions, most recently as a chief executive director of Whitbread PLC. Nothing in football.
Exactly.
We've got people who are running football who don't know about football.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. There is one in, I can't remember how, but we've got it. Sky Sports have always been biased towards the cartel. Yes, they have. The EPL has confirmed calling a meeting next week. Yep, perfect. My birthday, damn it, how dare she? Oh, brilliant. I hope when we do build a new stadium, we call it one of the stands, the Sir Bobby Robson stand. I like that. Do you know what I think we should call the whole stadium? Fuck you, Premier League. And we go live to the Fuck You Premier League stadium.
I don't think that'll go down well.
No, I don't think it would, but it would be funny though, wouldn't it? Right, that's the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in for as long as you have, guys, and keeping the chat flowing and the questions flying in. I hope we've answered everything, and I hope we've given shine a light on what has happened today. I know it was meant to be a review of the game, but we had to talk about all the other stuff as well. I hope we got everything across. We haven't missed anything, and you've enjoyed it. Don't forget about our sponsors, Diacro. Absolutely amazing. 20% off using code BAZ20. Link is in the description. Football prizes as well. They've got a Gaza signed shirt at the moment, and every ticket that's bought, 20% of it's going to be going to charity. So please check them out in the description below. Gaza signed shirt is very hard to get a hold of these days. So an absolute amazing prize. I'd love to know how they pulled that off because I'd love one myself. And don't forget, we will be live on the 16th of January in person with Luke Edwards, talking about the January transfer window, talking about the stadium plans, maybe having more discussions about this PSR stuff, and we'll have more insight of what's happening with budgets and things like that. It's going to be a crazy night, and all the money is going to be raised for Stanley Deaf Club and the NUFC Food Bank. So please get along. And then forget about me and Ian and forget about Luke. You're going to get to meet Superfan Dan and John O'Hare. So there you go. It's just a perfect night. So get your tickets by emailing Superfan Dan at that email address and get your name down on the list. There's only 60 spaces and we've sold 50%, maybe a little bit more now. So tickets are going to be running low very, very soon. So if you want one, got to be quick. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you again, maybe for a Premier League review sometime in the next few days. I'll let you know. Take care till then.
Take care.